We want to get it approved as quickly as we possibly can.
I know that my injuries were not in the report, and I had 30 adverse events.
I trusted the government, I trusted the health agencies, I trusted the drug company, and I gave my body essentially to science. I didn't realize that that meant that if something were to go wrong, that I would be left for dead. The drug company was nowhere to be found. They were, poof, gone the second there was a problem.
She's in a wheelchair. She's got a feeding tube.
Take this out.
She couldn't feel from her lower waist down. And at that point, she couldn't walk anymore. She literally couldn't move her legs.
People need to hear that this trial data is corrupted.
I wanted people to be aware of the way that these clinical trials are being run.
We were shocked to learn there were more serious adverse events in the vaccine group.
In the face of a global pandemic, the race to develop a COVID-19 vaccine became the fastest in history. These vaccine trials were hailed as scientific triumphs, promising hope and protection. While billions trusted the results, critics have raised questions about the full story behind the trial data and the reports of health problems during the trials. This film explores the experiences of some trial participants, asking whether anything was overlooked and what that might mean for the institutions we trust to protect us.
One more time, I'm going to count to 5, and if you're not out of bed, you are getting grounded.
Let's meet Maddie, a healthy and active 12-year-old who took part in the Pfizer COVID vaccine trials conducted by Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
2, 3.
Pfizer among the first to announce that they are expanding their COVID-19 vaccine trials to include children ages 12 and up.
What was meant to be a quick vaccine trial process resulted in long-lasting health challenges for Maddie.
We are pro-vaccine and pro-science, which is why we agreed to let Maddie and her 2 older brothers volunteer for the trial. Before Maddie got her final dose of the vaccine, she was a healthy 12-year-old who got straight A's and had lots of friends. She had a life. She was energetic. She was not like this. Although she does still have lots of friends. Upon receiving the second shot, Maddie immediately felt pain at the injection site. And over the next 24 hours, she developed severe abdominal and chest pain. And the way she described the chest pain, and I quote, "It feels like my heart is being ripped out through my neck."
Maddie's first dose was uneventful, with no problems. The very day Maddie received the second dose, she started to experience serious health problems.
So she went to school, somehow made it through the day. I don't know how. Walked in the door. I was at work. My husband works from home. Dropped her backpack and looked like death by the time she walked right into my husband's office. My husband immediately called. There's a trial line number that you're supposed to call when it happens. So he called them and they're like, well, we need to contact the principal investigator. We'll call you right back. They called right back. In between that, he called me back and I hear her in the background, Mom, Mom, my heart feels like it's being ripped through my chest.
Stephanie recalls that it started with scream-inducing abdominal pain, frequent fainting spells, multiple seizures a day, painful electric shocks in her spine and neck, and the sensation of pins and needles in her feet, which eventually led to the loss of feeling from her waist down.
It started at the bottom, it started with tingling, and it kept moving up her body, and it got to the point where the tingling stopped. but she couldn't feel from her like lower waist down. And at that point, she couldn't walk anymore. She literally couldn't move her legs.
Once a healthy, active child, she now navigates the world from a wheelchair.
They put an NG tube in for the being unable to swallow. Today, she still can't walk. She also lost control of her neck, so her neck would go backwards.
Maddie? Maddie.
Emergency rooms and hospitals became her new normal.
Hey, welcome back.
I need to take this out.
Okay.
Help. Give me, please.
The most difficult times were in the very beginning where she was in such severe pain. Like the severe pain eventually got, I wouldn't say better. She has like a constant pain that's her normal, but like the zapping and stuff eventually stopped.
Developing this morning, one of the world's leading drug makers has hit the brakes on its coronavirus vaccine trial.
Another COVID vaccine manufacturer, AstraZeneca, faced several precautionary trial pauses over safety concerns.
Even a single case of an unexpected illness is sufficient to require a clinical hold for the trial in multiple countries.
I have extensive experience in drug safety. I've led 24 day safety monitoring boards and randomized trials. In one case like Maddie's, the entire program should have been halted. We should have had a complete review. She should have had detailed testing, and the program should never have been restarted unless there was assurances that that would not happen again.
Maddie's case never led to a pause in the trial. Doctors ran tests but found no connection to the vaccine.
The doctors that have seen her so far have not found something where they thought was research related, is what they all were telling me.
According to the trial team, Maddie was diagnosed with functional neurological disorder due to fluctuating test and motor exam results. The Digeri family believes that other potential causes weren't fully explored.
They put her diagnosis of functional neurologic disorder on April 8th. That was a day before they submitted the EUA, the emergency approval, to the government here. She was in the hospital when that happened.
With no proven link to the vaccine, the trial contract didn't cover Maddie's medical costs.
We had to get lawyers involved for them to even pay for the medical bills from their hospital, from their trial.
Aaron Series Practice is the largest non-governmental team that deals with vaccine injury claims. After carefully examining Maddie's case, Series' team is confident that her condition is related to the vaccine.
This is not just anybody claiming they got an injury. This is one of the actual participants in the 12 to 15-year-old clinical trial who suffered a serious injury. In Maddie Digeri's case, where we represent the Digeri family, we've had an opportunity to look at all the records. There's over 50 folks at our firm, and there's 9 of them are exclusively involved in vaccine injury claims, including a number of medical professionals, lawyers, paralegals. They carefully and thoroughly reviewed Ms. Digeri's medical records, and I could tell you that it's clear to us, it's clear as day, that Maddie's injuries are related to her COVID-19 vaccine. And I think any objective party, regulatory authority, pharmaceutical company reviewing it would reach the same conclusion.
Did Pfizer include all of Maddie's symptoms in the documents they submitted for vaccine approval?
Pfizer, based on the documentations we've obtained, reported Maddie's injury to the FDA as functional abdominal pain. He said she had a tummy ache. She's in a wheelchair. She's got a feeding tube. It's clearly related to getting the COVID-19 vaccine, and that's how Pfizer reported it. That's troubling in and of itself.
The Digeri family finally found a way forward when Maddie underwent nerve examinations at a private clinic, indicating nerve damage. Maddie's parents have tirelessly reached out to health agencies pleading for help. Yet after 4 years, they still feel abandoned. They feel that both the company and health agencies have failed to provide meaningful support or offer solutions to Maddie's ongoing struggle. Stephanie knows other trial participants who reported serious health problems.
There's other similar stories. Gustavo with the Pfizer.
Augusto Ru, an Argentine lawyer who participated in the Pfizer vaccine trial, claims his heart inflammation and other health issues were not accurately documented.
De que se reconoce que existieron estos efectos adversos, pero que no existió respuesta alguna por parte del equipo de investigación ni por parte de las autoridades estatales en la República Argentina.
One of Germany's largest news organizations investigated and reported on his story. Pfizer maintains that in the cases of Augusto and Maddie, all trial events were properly reported and that no wrongdoing was found by regulators. Health authorities and regulators maintain that COVID-19 vaccines underwent rigorous safety evaluations and continue to show a strong safety profile in clinical trials and ongoing monitoring. These trial participants are questioning why their post-vaccine health issues were never publicly acknowledged. In the vaccine trial study report, serious adverse event cases are flagged. These participants say theirs were not.
I know that my injuries were not in the report, and I had 30 adverse events.
Olivia Cameron participated in the vaccine clinical trials at the Coastal Carolina Research Center. Following the second shot, Olivia faced a nightmare of devastating health problems that made her life unbearable. Among the long list of symptoms were excruciating nerve pain, severe neurological problems reminiscent of dementia, stuttering, and a feeling of being off balance.
And I was really, really scared. And I just kept telling my son I was sorry, because I thought that I was going to be paralyzed or I was going to have permanent brain damage. I couldn't even read. Like, I could read the words, okay, but I don't know what they're saying. It was really tough. That was one particular day was really hard where I was in so much pain, I didn't want to be in my body anymore. Like, I just wanted to exist as like a brain in a jar because I was in so much pain. And I really felt like if I was to move like this, that I was going to be paralyzed. There was so much inflammation from the shot that my muscles just locked up like this.
Olivia's shoulder muscle, where she received the injection, suffered a severe injury. She endured a relentless shoulder cramp that caused damage to the muscle fibers, resulting in high-grade tears and unleashing a wave of pain that persisted for months on end.
You know, it said in the contract, if you are injured as a result of the study drug, we will get you medical care, and they never got me any medical care.
Olivia feels the vaccine manufacturer and research center should have responded swiftly with support and testing. Like in Maddie's case, Olivia felt abandoned.
My insurance company finally provided the MRI. You know, it showed that I needed surgery. My shoulder surgeon said, yeah, you're definitely injured by the vaccine. He was the best surgeon in Charleston, South Carolina. And he could tell by the MRI and the way that it happened that it was definitely the vaccine that caused my shoulder damage.
Olivia has documentation that includes a note from the surgeon stating adverse effect of the vaccine. With help from the Highwire team, Olivia recorded a conversation with the principal investigator at the trial site, who stated that she believes Olivia's shoulder injury is linked to the vaccine.
I think your shoulder.
Was I the only one who had like all these like adverse reactions and stuff from?
You were by far the worst. I'm so sorry.
Worse? Yeah. Do you think that what is wrong with me, all of these health problems, is a result of the vaccine or not?
I think your shoulder.
Olivia is a recovered cancer patient, but after receiving the vaccine, her lymph nodes in the arm where she got the shot became severely swollen.
They were suspicious of lymphoma because, all of a sudden, you got these lymph nodes swelling up.
According to Olivia, because the biopsy showed her lymph nodes appeared unusually melted, she suspects her lymphoma may have been triggered by the vaccine.
The very old doctor, he said that it started here. The vax arm is the one that said definitely T-cell lymphoma, and the surgeon said he never saw lymph nodes like that before. The color and the way that they were just like melted together.
There is no proven medical connection between Olivia's lymphoma and the vaccine, nor is it listed among FDA side effects.
I'm not able to work. That's it. I'm permanently disabled.
Olivia feels that the trial site did not fully investigate her case, which makes it difficult for her to establish a definitive link between all her health issues and the vaccine. Regulators stated that clinical trials demonstrated that serious adverse events were very rare and that the benefits clearly outweighed the risk.
The FDA has just authorized a second coronavirus vaccine for emergency use.
This is the first product for Moderna to get on the market and a brand new technology.
Although regulators have not suggested any foul play, trial participants suspect their stories could have jeopardized vaccine approval. As AstraZeneca's trial pauses caused worldwide concern and may have even influenced public trust. The most anticipated event of the pandemic was the approval of the first COVID vaccines. Based on these trials, the vaccines were hailed as exceptionally safe and effective.
This is one of the most studied vaccines in history.
In the clinical trial, the side effects were usually mild and lasted for a day or so.
The evidence convincingly shows that the benefits are greater than the risks.
The COVID vaccine market has skyrocketed beyond the astounding $100 billion mark, establishing it as one of the most profitable pharma products in history. The race to develop a vaccine was not merely a noble quest to save the world.
Moderna, and Pfizer and BioNTech won the race, and they did this on a for-profit basis. And they're going to reap billions of dollars in sales every year. These vaccines are going to be some of the biggest drugs of all time.
Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, and AstraZeneca were the first ones out with a COVID vaccine, and they were awarded the biggest contracts.
100 million doses.
We bought more vaccine.
200 million more doses of the Pfizer vaccine.
More potential doses per Canadian than anywhere else.
For every adult in the country.
We're expecting an even larger shipment from Pfizer again.
Moderna's stock surged nearly 20 times, while the company behind Pfizer's vaccine, BioNTech, witnessed its stock increase over 10 times. Some of the shareholders of these companies made a fortune. while the CEO of AstraZeneca was knighted.
Company AstraZeneca has been honored with a knighthood.
The AstraZeneca vaccine showed promising results after trials in the U.S. There had been some reports about the vaccine linked to blood clots in Europe.
As a staunch supporter of science and vaccines, Brianne participated in the AstraZeneca vaccine trial in Utah at Velocity Clinical Research.
She volunteered for a clinical trial.
The reality is I am in pain every second of every day.
Now, you have suffered greatly over the past few years.
I've got to be totally honest with you. I mean, it almost put me 6 feet under.
You've been in the Daily Mail in the UK, you've been on Bloomberg internationally, so your story is getting out now.
Before participating in the vaccine trial, Brianne Dressen led an active life as an outdoors enthusiast. She worked as a preschool teacher and her husband as a biochemist. Together, they have 2 children.
I gave my body essentially to science. I didn't realize that that meant that if something were to go wrong, that I would be left for dead. I did not realize, that there would be nobody held accountable if there was a problem.
Over 4 years, Brianne has endured a long list of horrific health problems. Imagine a life where you are trapped in a state of excruciating pain and the nightmarish sensation of being constantly electrocuted.
Existing like this has been an absolute nightmare. I hope that people understand that it is horrific, and it is something that I hope nobody ever has to experience. I would not wish this on my worst enemy.
Brianne's health problems began just 1 hour after receiving the AstraZeneca vaccine and spiraled out of control with each passing day.
2.5 weeks into it, I landed in the hospital for the 4th time, and my legs were not working. I was incontinent. I remembered crying because my legs stopped working, and I knew something was terribly wrong. I was holed up in my room 24/7 because the lights were so just overbearing. The sound was overbearing. The sound of running water was too much for my ears. My son would come into my room to try to comfort me. He was 8 years old at the time. And even just the touch of his little hand, it felt like it was cactus, like I was just being stabbed with cactus. It was this burning, prickling sensation. And so I just remember pushing him away and, asking him to go away. And I'll always be haunted by his little face, just not sure why he could not be there, even next to his mom. And it felt like I was being electrocuted 24/7. There was no rest, there was no break. I remember waking up every morning and just being greeted by this horrific electric shock that just keeps going all the time, and just remembering to just breathe. And so I would wake up and just breathe. All right, we're gonna breathe for 2 minutes. Okay, and then the 2 minutes will be up. Okay, this is still a nightmare. All right, I'm gonna breathe for 2 more minutes. And there was no doctor that knew what was going on. The test clinic was very frustrated with the drug company. They were very confused. They couldn't understand why the drug company wasn't calling us. I thought I was engaging in real science. I thought that if something were to go wrong, they would collect the adverse event data, and that information would then be used for the public and for scientists to learn how to, 1, treat issues, and 2, see if there's a way to prevent these issues from happening again. None of that happened. The whole purpose of science is to collect the data, whether it's convenient or not. It's not just to collect the convenient data. If you collect only the convenient data, then it's not real science.
Just as with Maddie and Olivia, Brianne's case is not specifically identified or examined in the study report.
So while I was holed up in the hospital, the drug company called and they said, you've had an adverse reaction to the vaccine. We're going to advise you to forego getting the second shot. In the clinical trial report that they are displaying to the public, it states specifically that the patients chose to forego getting the second dose, which is totally not the truth in my case. They told me not to get it. But that's the convenient loophole. If you didn't finish the series, then you don't have to follow the patients. We're just dropouts.
Thanks to her husband's efforts, Brianne was recruited for a research study by the National Institutes of Health.
They flew me to the NIH in June of 2021. They did tests, they did treatments, they did full-on evaluations. They had a whole bunch of other treatment recommendations. They had concepts and theories behind what was going on.
In the study conducted at the National Institutes of Health, they found evidence of nerve damage in patients who experienced serious neurological symptoms after receiving the COVID vaccine. They examined 23 patients to determine whether their neurological symptoms were linked to vaccine-related nerve damage, using tests like nerve exams, skin biopsies, and neurological evaluations. Brianne's test revealed abnormal EMG and small fiber neuropathy results, along with signs of autonomic dysfunction. NIH doctors diagnosed her with post-vaccine neuropathy and severe POTS, a condition causing heart dysregulation.
Yes, we had COVID vaccine injuries on our medical charts from the NIH.
Later, Brianne received a diagnosis that was even more specific, indicating CIDP and small fiber neuropathy. Maddie's exams also indicated signs of nerve damage and dysautonomia.
So she was diagnosed with chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, so it's CIDP. So basically what happened is her body, whenever she got the vaccine, it overreacted, and rather than just attacking the virus, it attacked her nerves.
Viruses and vaccines carry the risk of triggering dysregulation of the immune system, potentially leading to the development of autoimmunity, where our body starts to attack itself as the enemy. Could this explain symptoms like those seen in Maddie, Olivia, and Brianne? In some cases, our confused immune system can specifically target our nerve fibers, leading to overwhelming pain, tingling, loss of feeling, brain fog, and many more symptoms.
We've learned the FDA's top vaccine regulator, Dr. Peter Marks, has resigned.
His sub-agency, it was the one in charge of handling, regulating vaccines for the entirety of the FDA.
Dr. Peter Marks was the mastermind behind Operation Warp Speed, the largest vaccine project in history.
Dr. Marks, come on out.
Why should Americans trust these vaccines?
Dr. Peter Marks, who was recently dismissed from his role, was one of the most influential figures in overseeing vaccine safety at the Food and Drug Administration.
FDA staff members are like your family.
The FDA is considered the gold standard regulator of medical products.
FDA officials were impressed by the trial results, praising the vaccines as exceptionally safe and granting them emergency use authorization.
The data provided by the sponsor have met the FDA's expectations.
While regulators highlighted the vaccine's strong safety profile, scientists from prestigious universities called for greater transparency in the trials and the approval process.
We have made this review process as transparent as possible.
Nothing's being hidden.
It's all open and transparent.
While promising full transparency, the FDA requested a 75-year delay in releasing the complete Pfizer data, citing a lack of resources.
A judge in Texas has ruled that the FDA cannot take 75 years to release data about the COVID-19 vaccines.
As scientists re-examined the trial data using a different approach than the FDA, they found what appeared to be a higher likelihood of potential side effects.
My name's Dr. Joseph Raymond. I'm an emergency physician and a clinical scientist. I specialize in harm-benefit analysis. Nearly all medical interventions also cause harm. So what we do typically with this is we try to compare them side by side. Do the benefits outweigh the harms, or do the harms outweigh the benefits?
Joseph Freeman and his colleagues conducted a reanalysis of the COVID vaccine trials, uncovering what appear to be risk signals associated with the mRNA vaccines.
In our reanalysis of the original clinical trial, we were shocked to learn that within the Pfizer trial, there were more serious adverse events in the vaccine group. There was 36% more, which amounts to a 1 for every 555 people experienced an additional serious adverse event. And we found that the vaccines in the clinical trials themselves appeared to be at least 2 to 4 times more likely to cause a serious adverse event than to prevent hospitalization. This was clearly a very concerning finding, and we reported this, we published this, and we were able to get this done in a peer-reviewed study, and it has been heavily cited.
With billions vaccinated, millions reported health issues shortly after vaccination, including serious cases like blood clots, hospitalizations, and neurological symptoms. Many affected individuals now feel desperate, as regulators have ruled that nearly all cases are coincidental and not caused by the vaccine. Critics argue that the current system struggles to detect rare side effects and establish a clear link to the vaccine.
Our surveillance system really can only identify things like myocarditis. Our system can identify huge relative increases, like a 500% increase. Our surveillance system is unable to consistently identify harms that are happening at a 40%, 50% increase, which sounds terrible. And we have a serious problem if this vaccine is increasing heart attacks, strokes, or blood clots in the lungs, because they happen so commonly in the normal population, and they increase them just by even 20%. We are talking about tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who are going to experience these awful events unnecessarily, and our surveillance system will totally be unable to identify them.
Large-scale studies have identified risk signals that need further investigation. Some studies have found new risk signals linked to very specific health conditions, but research is very limited.
The largest COVID vaccine study to date was just released. 99 million people from around the world.
They identified these very significant problems that were neurologic, cardiac, or hematologic issues. You wouldn't want to see these issues, right? Or you wouldn't expect to see these issues. And if you did, you'd want to see them at a low rate. There's tens of millions of people out there that are screaming from the rooftop saying that after they had the vaccine, they have suffered symptoms that have impaired their activities of daily living.
The authors of these studies declare that the benefits outweigh the harms.
We should be vaccinating as many people as you possibly can.
To everyone in the entire world.
Vaccine Super site opens today at Yankee Stadium.
With over 70% of the world vaccinated, all the potential rare side effects could build up when vaccinating billions. So, a specific side effect could mean thousands of real cases globally without drawing much attention.
It's quite clear that what we saw in the original clinical trials was that not one single type of serious adverse event was what occurred. It was many different types, serious adverse events, each one incredibly rare. We could say 1 in 10,000, 1 in 20,000, 1 in 30,000 increase. But when you have many different types of serious adverse events happening at a very rare rate, when you consider all of them together, your chances of having any serious adverse event become much less rare.
These rare side effects might go unreported, as doctors across the world don't believe the sufferers. This can lead to challenges in receiving proper care and support from the medical community.
So the experiences of the COVID vaccine injured, there's a lot of things that are very similar, right? You know, everybody goes to the doctor, everybody's been gaslit. The hesitancy on the government agencies to acknowledge this is also something that's similar across the globe.
After vaccination, Joel developed spinal cord inflammation that left him disabled. Before the disability, he was a respected surgeon.
Before my injury, I trusted my healthcare organizations. I trusted my federal agencies to do their job. And the FDA's mission, if you look at their website, is to protect the population from drugs and medical devices.
The government wasn't helping anyone. So we realized that if anything was going to happen, we were going to have to do it ourselves. We needed to start a legal nonprofit so we could really take our negative reactions and change them into positive action. We needed to become far more than just sad stories.
Brianne and Joel founded React 19, a science-based support group for over 39,000 sufferers, hoping the agency responsible for vaccine safety would be their lifeline.
I'm happy to start. I'm Peter Marks, Director of the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research.
I've told Peter Marks to his face on a Zoom that he failed.
Because the agencies have not done their job on our behalf, we have people that are permanently damaged.
We struggle very diligently to try to understand safety signals.
The calls with Dr. Marks have been pretty much of a joke or a farce. He listens. He says he'll get back to us. Okay, he never does. We email him with a set of questions, never get a response. It's just wrong. They're supposed to be proactive ones that are looking out and protecting us.
These 30,000 seriously injured individuals in this one group, in just the United States, and there are countless people around the world in the same position, that there could be this cacophony of crying and suffering and pain in every corner of this country and other countries around the world, and our health authorities could simply ignore them and turn a blind eye to them. But recognizing that COVID-19 vaccines cause the harm to those individuals directly abuts the policies that these agencies are pushing. When it comes to pharmaceutical companies, all those injured people, they all stand in the way of billions of dollars of profits.
Drug safety advocates have long expressed concerns that the pharmaceutical industry wields too much power over the FDA's assessment of drug safety. These fears were renewed when FDA Director Stephen Hahn approved the COVID vaccines and then went to work at a company that helped launch the vaccine maker, Moderna. Pfizer hired a former FDA director as its new chief medical officer.
And regulators, unfortunately, have started viewing themselves not as the ones who need to assure safety or oversee it, but more as partners with the industry and getting these products licensed, developed, and pushed out to the marketplace as soon as possible. To see that in action, one need go no further than looking recently at the FDA's homepage. What you're going to see is basically an ad for the bivalent COVID-19 vaccine. The head of its vaccine division, biologics division, Dr. Peter Marks, literally put out videos promoting this vaccine to the public, telling everybody they should get it.
Vaccines are safe and serious side effects are rare. Seriously consider getting vaccinated if you're eligible.
Getting a bivalent vaccine booster dose is critical.
The FDA is there to license the vaccine, to review the data and ensure it's safe and effective. It has no role in promoting the vaccine. It's not its job. But it is so far gone from its regulatory role.
The process of the speed did not compromise at all safety.
As COVID vaccines were fast-tracked at unprecedented speed, the FDA's inspections of trial sites became more crucial than ever. Instead of tightening inspections on trial sites, the agency visited just 9 out of 153 Pfizer sites and 10 out of 99 Moderna sites.
So for an emergency use authorization, we are not required to do the type of site inspections that we would for a biologics license application and a fully approved vaccine.
Clinical trial is not conducted by the FDA or by some independent agency or department. It's conducted by the pharmaceutical company seeking licensure. Pfizer conducts its own clinical trial, hires and pays principal investigators and others.
Brooke Jackson was a regional director for 2 of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine trial sites in Texas.
I wanted people to be aware of the way that these clinical trials are being run.
She became a whistleblower, and her allegations about problems at the trial sites were reported by the British Medical Journal, a respected medical publication.
They knew that they were in trouble. I warned them multiple times, if the FDA were to ever walk into this clinic right now, my experience is that this clinical trial site would be closed for non-compliance, for violations of You know, all the regulations that we're supposed to follow and potentially be investigated for criminal activity. We had so many adverse events that needed to be reported that we just could not answer all of them. We were getting complaints directly from Pfizer wanting to know why patients were calling them, stating that they were unable to get a hold of the clinical trial site. The mailboxes were full, and we were just continuing to be allowed by Pfizer to enroll patients even while they knew there were these types of problems going on. If they're pushing us, they have to be pushing elsewhere. Everything that I saw, the fabrication of data, the falsification of data, the sloppiness in the way that they practiced medicine and in clinical trials, for a sponsor to allow it to continue so that they can bring a product to market first was just such an eye-opening experience.
Brooke Jackson felt the problems were ignored by her superiors. When she took her concerns directly to the FDA, she was fired from her job. The government declined to pursue her alleged fraud case against Pfizer, citing insufficient evidence. The FDA never contacted Brooke Jackson to conduct a detailed investigation.
The FDA has never inspected Bentavia's clinical trial site. You know, this is the body that oversees our food, our drugs, and our cosmetics. We can't even get the FDA to inspect a clinical trial site. What the hell are they there for?
Please. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. President. They can make the judgment on how they want.
During the pandemic, Dr. Robert Redfield held one of the world's highest-ranking health authority positions as director of the CDC, the very agency responsible for overseeing vaccine safety. The former CDC director has been a strong advocate for COVID vaccination, but he also acknowledges that vaccine injuries have consistently been downplayed and underreported.
There was not appropriate transparency from the beginning about the potential side effects of these vaccines. There was inappropriate decisions by some to try to under-report any side effects because they argued that would make the public less likely to get vaccinated. I do think one of the greatest mistakes that was made, of course, was mandating these vaccines. They should have never been mandated. It should have been open to personal choice. They don't prevent infection. They do have side effects.
We have very good safety surveillance systems in place where we would be looking at safety events. And if we see something,
FDA and CDC are both responsible for monitoring vaccine safety. After the COVID vaccine rollout, they witnessed in real time as their vaccine safety monitoring systems became overwhelmed by a flood of side effect reports. Peter Marks, one of the heads of the FDA, testified that the agency was blindsided by the massive increase in reports.
Dr. Marks, was the government prepared for such an avalanche of reports to VAERS?
We tried to be prepared for that, but the avalanche of reports was tremendous, and it again required retasking people on the fly.
Here's the current VAERS report, the COVID vaccines, over 37,000 deaths. Today, by the way, 24% of those deaths reported are occurring on the day of vaccination or within 2 days. I mean, total number of adverse events reported, 1.6 million.
While public VAERS reports are unverified, the FDA does not link a single one of the tens of thousands of death reports to the vaccine. In 2021, following the COVID vaccine rollout, reports soared to over 1 million, with 1 in 5 categorized as serious. Despite the large number of reports, regulators and companies state that they have reviewed the data and found no serious safety concerns.
Pfizer, after rolling out the vaccine, realized they need to hire over another 1,000 individuals to just be able to have the support they needed to process all of the injury reports. So that obviously was unexpected.
The British Medical Journal investigated whether the vaccine safety monitoring system VAERS is broken. Overwhelmed by the reports, did the VAERS team even grasp whether these vaccines were seriously harming the public? According to the BMJ investigation, VAERS reviewers did not follow up on all the serious side effect reports.
If you want to make it a true objective database, you have to get follow-up. You have to get verification of the injury.
Despite Joel reporting his serious health problems, he was never contacted by VAERS clinical reviewers, and as a result, he is missing from the adverse event statistics.
Since my injury, how many people have called me to find out how I'm doing? 0. If you look at VAERS, I'm listed as not serious. Okay, I'm disabled, I have a spinal cord injury, I have dysautonomia. Okay, I'm listed as not serious because I wasn't hospitalized and I didn't die.
The FDA should release all of the safety data they have. I was very disappointed to hear that they were planning to hold on to that till 2026. That really creates a sense of total lack of trust.
Health agencies have been slow to release crucial information on vaccine safety, even fighting legal battles, making it difficult for scientists to evaluate the potential risks of these vaccines. Due to the work of Aaron Siri's legal team, health agencies have been required to disclose a lot of crucial COVID vaccine safety information. For instance, data collected by the largest vaccine safety monitoring app revealed that thousands of users reported health issues.
What we saw was that in fact 7.7% of V-Safe users reporting needing medical care after a COVID-19 vaccine. And the CDC hid that data from the public for that entire period that we were demanding it. And in fact, to today, the only way you would know that number is by looking at the raw data or going to, on the ICANN website, they created this V-Safe dashboard that lets you analyze and see the data in action.
The V-Safe app includes a free-form field where users can describe any health issues they experience after vaccination. Some of the accounts describe hospital visits and heart problems. You can visit the ICANN website to explore all the reports, and by searching with keywords, you'll find thousands of reports mentioning irregular heart rate, chest pain, neurological issues, and more.
We are seeing serious problems with this vaccine, and its benefits are looking worse every day. We should not be continuing to give this vaccine without new trials that demonstrate that its benefit is outweighing its harm, and these need to be well-done trials. Therefore, with that, I ask that the vaccine be withdrawn until such trials are done.
We can reasonably quickly get to the herd immunity.
It is widely acknowledged that COVID vaccines do not stop the spread of the virus.
Unfortunately, that protection against infection, which is related to transmissibility, waned rather rapidly in a matter of months.
Due to reduced protection against transmission, many countries now recommend boosters only for at-risk groups, not the general population.
Western European countries, Australia, the World Health Organization, Scandinavian countries, all target high-risk groups.
Just recently, the CDC recommended boosters for everyone, including infants. That guidance has now shifted to focus on those 65 and older and people with certain comorbidities.
In the world, we have literally vaccinated millions and millions of totally healthy children. And again, this group of people, the young people, the children, even the college students, they don't need the shots.
I can assure you COVID-19 was a very serious disease. I worked in the emergency rooms throughout all of the COVID-19 surges from 2020 on, and I witnessed many people die from the disease. Of the people who I saw who were seriously ill with the disease, every single one of them was either elderly and frail with multiple comorbidities, or there were some younger individuals in their 30s and 40s who I did witness become seriously ill, and some die who were severely obese. However, I did not personally witness a single healthy adult or child ever become seriously ill. And I've spoken to many of the other emergency room physicians that are my friends and emergency nurses. And I have not found one who has observed such a situation of a healthy young adult or a child being seriously ill with COVID-19.
Joseph's observations are supported by one of the largest studies showing that the actual risk of death from COVID-19 is quite low for healthy individuals, raising questions about mass vaccination. While it may have felt like the death rate was near 2%, it was 0.5% for those aged 60 to 69, and the risk for those under 19, it was incredibly low, just 0.0003%.
Now, to have a vaccine for this group of people who has such a rare risk of serious hospitalization is incredibly dangerous to not have perfect safety data. That means a small rate of harm, even a yet unknown rate, could easily outweigh the benefit.
Millions of kids are about to get a COVID vaccination shot.
We do want to be vaccinating the children.
There's likely an association between these two vaccines and an increased risk of a rare heart condition for young people.
We have had reports of this rare but mild myocarditis.
While studies observe that post-vaccination myocarditis is very rare and most cases resolve without known complications, some research raises concerns about the potential for heart scarring and long-term risks.
And it's very mild. Only about 2% have required any significant medical intervention.
An Israeli study found that myocarditis occurred in about 1 in every 6,600 young males following vaccination. A large-scale Scandinavian study reported the rate of heart inflammation post-vaccination to be 1 case per 5,400. In a Thailand study, out of the 301 vaccinated children, 54 had abnormal ECG findings. 7 participants showed markers of clinical or subclinical heart inflammation, and one of those children required hospitalization.
They found the risk of myocarditis to be 2%, 1 in 50. Well, that's alarming. Are these discussions going on in the doctor's office when someone brings their child in?
These children were found to have elevated levels of something called troponin in their blood. Now, they didn't feel anything necessarily, but heart damage, even they didn't feel that day, is something that in the next 20 to 30 years or 1 year could lead to them having a sudden cardiac death. In 30, 40 years as they get older, it could lead to them having heart failure earlier than they would have normally.
There are considerable risks to not getting your child vaccinated.
I decided to do the right thing and keep my son safe. This turned out to be the worst decision in my life. Suddenly my son was dead, and I was planning his funeral. Junior's autopsy showed that he had myocarditis. Junior was a healthy boy. I know nothing will bring Junior back, but I miss him every day. My pain is unbearable. The only thing I can do now is try to help others.
So the pharmaceutical companies are protected. We're not allowed to sue them.
The government's own COVID vaccine compensation program has an extremely low payout rate.
Let me put it this way. If I came to you and I said, hey, I got a business idea. Here's the idea. We're gonna make this product, this thing you inject into people. Wow, okay. Well, what about safety issues? Don't worry about it. You can't be sued for the injuries it causes. Okay, well, who the heck would take that product? Don't worry. The government's gonna mandate it. Wow, you mean guaranteed market? Yeah, they'll mandate it and why would they do that? Don't worry, they'll mandate it. Oh, okay. Well, but won't there still be a bunch of PR issues? Don't worry. Billions of taxpayer money will go to just repeating the mantra safe and effective over and over again, promoting your product through trusted voices.
Safety is off the table, there's no doubt. It's safe.
And they're safe and they're highly effective. They're safe and effective.
They're safe. Safe.
Extraordinarily safe. It's safe. It's the right thing to do. It's good for you.
We have an extraordinary safety profile, probably unlike any we've seen with any vaccine in history.
To everyone in the entire world.
All Canadians to be vaccinated.
As much as we can, as fast as we can.
We can reasonably quickly get to the herd immunity.
How could it be, right, that you'd have a product where you can't be sued for harm, you got a guaranteed market, they promote the product for you. It sounds unreal. So, and it should be unreal. It shouldn't exist. And the only product it exists for like this is for vaccines.
Kansas is suing Pfizer over how it marketed its COVID-19 vaccine.
5 states, including Kansas and Texas, have filed lawsuits claiming that Pfizer made false promises about the vaccine's protection and failed to fully disclose potential risks.
The Kansas Attorney General is now suing Pfizer for what he says are misleading claims the company made about its COVID-19 vaccine. Chris Kobach accuses the pharmaceutical company of lying when it called its vaccine safe and effective.
This lawsuit is simply about withholding, misleading, and deceiving the public.
But even states may be unable to sue vaccine companies, as they've been granted broad immunity under the PrEP Act, which shields them from nearly all lawsuits. this film presents a perspective on vaccine safety and injury claims. Health agencies and vaccine manufacturers continue to monitor safety data and have not identified any serious risks. Regulatory bodies around the world remain confident in the safety of these vaccines and have not made any allegations against manufacturers. Viewers are encouraged to consult their doctors and seek information from a range of reliable sources. The post-vaccination patients and COVID long haulers share a tragic fate, both experiencing neglect and helplessness.
Millions are being impacted by long COVID.
There are times where my muscles and joints hurt so much.
The solution for helping sufferers is more in-person research with those affected, like the study Brianne participated in.
A 4-year, $1 billion government study has been launched, hoping to determine why so-called long haulers are still suffering.
Yet, there has been very limited research funding from the NIH for post-vaccination issues.
There is no money being funneled in from the NIH or any of these other major places where research dollars come from to be attributed to COVID vaccine injuries. Why is that? Why isn't anyone thinking that that's a strange thing?
So I won't stop the fight for you. Yes, I will always fight for you. I will brave every attack, and I will not give up on you. I will always have your back.
They go back to the FDA, the CDC, the medical establishment, the medical institutions that all pushed them, promoted to them to take that product. And they go back and say, hey, I did what you told me to do. I followed your advice. I've got this serious issue. I've got this really bad neuropathy. And the reaction often is one of disbelief, rejection. And these people go to them pleading, often crying, and they get no help from those same institutions.
If there is something that goes wrong, you are on your own. The government isn't going to help you. The drug companies aren't going to help you. Your doctors are not going to have any idea what to do with you.
The COVID vaccine injury group, React 19, has assisted numerous sufferers in navigating the health system.
We were able to find a doctor because of React 19, and that's how Maddie was able to see a doctor that was able to do the right tests and gave her the correct diagnosis, so she was able to get the correct treatments.
React 19 also provides financial support to cover medical expenses for injured individuals who are often bankrupt due to their medical condition.
We deal with people that are financially devastated all the time. That's why one of the 3 pillars of our organization is our care fund, which gives grants to up to $10,000 for people for uncovered medical expenses. But I can't tell you how many times my heart has been broken. I look at every application that comes in for our care fund. We look at their finances, and it's typically, retirement account 0. Savings, 0. We have people that are living in their car. They couldn't pay their rent, they couldn't pay their mortgage.
React 19 relies on donations to provide support for the injured, work towards solutions, and address costly legal battles.
The community of people that are like me that I have learned and have connected with is the most beautiful community. I have a new family now. It's my injured family.
If this film matters to you, Please share it and help start the conversation. For official guidance, visit the website of your regulatory agency and consult with your healthcare provider.